who continuing the second part of our Asleep at the Wheel mini-series.
All right. Want to turn behind you and say hello? Okay, so it's what's funny is like, well, I didn't get it. Hey, it's so good to see you all again. As you know, we're doing the second week of Asleep at the Wheel. And we all been in the car. Maybe you've driven a car and you've almost fallen asleep, or maybe you have. But we all have different techniques of what to do. Like when you're driving, you're falling asleep. Like you could be driving your eyes like this. Have you driven like this before? Or maybe you have the windows down, aircon going. You know, you're drinking like all these V's, drinking them up. Anybody here always have V's when they're traveling? Another technique that we use is I just get my wife to, like, if I'm really tired, just to slap me in the face. You guys ever try that? It's amazing, because as soon as you ask your wife, could you slap me in the face? She just slaps me in the face. I said, no, I meant when I'm tired and she slaps me in the face. I'm not tired. Oh, sorry, I couldn't tell. And so now every time I go to sleep, she slaps me because you look like you're getting tired. When I'm in the car, this, so sometimes you have to be clear sometimes, okay, with your wife. You've got to be clear because sometimes they don't follow instructions. As husbands know, right? We give instructions, they don't follow it. So... and so that's why you end up getting slapped in the face all the time. And so we try to do that because fatigue sets in, right? And you get tired. And you ever driven to a point like you haven't taken note of all the signs of fatigue? You haven't taken note, you're driving and you're done. Have you ever done this before? And your wife goes, are you okay? I'm fine. I'm just, my neck, that's all it is. And you do this. And what's happening is you haven't taken account of the fatigue setting in, and so your body is doing what is called a micro nap. And your body goes to sleep for about 2 to 3 seconds. 2 to 3 seconds, because like it's giving you all these warnings, giving you all these signs, and you're not paying any attention to it. Are you paying attention to the tension? You're not paying attention to it, and you're falling asleep. So your body automatically gives you that automatic mode. Have you ever arrived at a certain place and you couldn't remember how you got there? It was like, how did I even get here? Your body just went in automatic pilot mode for whatever reason. And it can be really dangerous when you're doing this, because if you're nodding off to sleep, that might be okay, but when you're traveling over 100 k's per hour, that could result in huge damage to yourself and to the car and other people. So it's got to be really careful. Take note of the fatigue setting in. And in this country, one of the 4 biggest reasons for car accidents in this country is, number 1, alcohol. Number 2 is speed. Number 3 is the age of drivers, meaning experience. And number 4 is fatigue, driver fatigue, falling asleep at the wheel. And so it is. These are 4 things that are pretty important, and make sure we keep attention of the tension that goes on. And I take it very seriously when I'm with my family. I do not risk my family. And I know when I've had a long day at work, and because, quite often I have a long day, hard work, and we're going on a big journey, I would go for a 20-minute nap, right? Just a 20-minute nap, and that's enough to refresh me. And if I don't do that, then if I'm traveling and I feel the signs of fatigue starting to set in, then I would pull over and I'll have a power nap. A power nap for about 10 to 20 minutes. And you know what? And if you come with me, we travel from here to Auckland, I can show you all the spots along the road where I've pulled over. I've pulled over in people's driveways, and sometimes farmers aren't happy trying to get the cows out, and there's my car parked up, I'm having a sleep. But I've parked up all along the highway because, for me, it's important for me to get back. It's important for my children to know that their dad is coming home. And it's important for me when I'm traveling. In fact, if I'm traveling with my kids, I would still pull over. They know the drill. Like, quite often there's us and my wife and all kids in the car. So all seats are full, all 8 seats are full. And I'm feeling the signs. My wife notices the signs. She knows the drill. And she's feeling tired. Yes, I am. And she says, pull over. So we pull over. Everybody, the kids are going, ah! And I'll pull over and I'll go to sleep. And you might say, well, that must be pretty hard. But for me, I just lay my chair back and I'm like, close my eyes and I'm gone, And I'm asleep. And I sleep for exactly 10 minutes. I don't know what it is. I don't know exactly. And I wake up and all the kids are waiting for me. But my kids don't know it's important for their dad to go to sleep and have a nap, because they know their dad loves them. Because he's a good father. Hey, that's who I am. That's who I am. And I'm loved by, okay, just carry on. But, so it's so important to be aware of the signs of fatigue. And it's so important in our lives. And I know it's important in your life. And I know it's important for you that you do not want to risk your kids' lives or anybody else's lives. But sometimes when it comes to when things really matter, sometimes we don't pay attention to the signs. Pay attention to the signs of fatigue in our marriages, in our relationships, within our businesses, within our education. We don't pay attention to the tension that's going on. And before we know it, we find ourselves in a car wreck because we fell asleep at the wheel when it counted. When it counted in your relationship. When it counted when you're studying for that exam that was coming. You fell asleep because you did not pay attention to the sign. You did not pay attention to the tension that was going on. So if you've got your Bibles, why don't you turn with me to Matthew chapter 26. And last week, we read through this passage, so we're just going to be going through part of this passage. So here we have Jesus. This is the night that Jesus was betrayed. He goes with his disciples to a garden, and he is deeply troubled because he knows what's going to happen. He knows that he's going to be separated from the Father. He knows that he's going to carry the sin of the world upon himself. And it's lays heavy on his heart. He knows what he needs to do, but it's still a heavy thing to carry. And so he comes with his closest friends, and he says to his closest friends, can you stay here while I just go over there? The Bible says it's just a stone's throw away. So if it's me, it'll be like maybe about way down to the street, my stone throw away. That's how far it goes. But for most of you normal people, it's just be over there. No, just kidding. Actually, mine will be right over there. So that's why I didn't play cricket. Okay, I'm just going to go over there and pray. Could you pray for me? Could you pray for me? Please, I need you the most. Please, can you stand and pray for me? So he goes off. And he goes off just a stone throw away to pray on his own. And this is where we are in the Bible, in Matthew chapter 26, verse 39. Going a little farther, speaking of Jesus, he fell with his face to the ground and prayed, my Father, if it is possible, may this cup be taken from me, yet not as I will, but as you will. Then he returned to his disciples, and he found them sleeping. Could you men not keep watch with me for 1 hour? He asked Peter. Watch and pray so that you will not fall into temptation. The spirit is willing, but the body is weak. The spirit is willing, but the body is weak. See, Jesus' closest friends didn't fall asleep on him once. As we read the passage, we find that they fall asleep 3 times. When Jesus needed them the most, they fell asleep. And the reason why they fell asleep is because they were in a posture to fall asleep. And you know what? For 7 days a week, you want to do good. For 7 days a week, you want to make the right decisions. You want to make the right decisions within your marriage, within your relationships. You want to make the right decisions when you're spending your money. You know what? I'm not going to spend my money at McDonald's all this week. I'm not going to buy those expensive shoes this week. Has anybody ever bought expensive shoes? Just waiting for ladies to put their hands up, but the most expensive shoes I have ever bought cost me $300. That's right. I was 18 years old. Explains the whole thing, right? I like to say, do something today that your future self will thank you for. If I could go back, I'll get my Bible and say, you know what? I want to pray for you, you idiot. What did you buy $300 shoes for? At that time, they were pretty cool. They were Dr. Martens, bump toes, and they had white stitching around. They were airwear, so they were specially designed, $300 pair of shoes. I still have these shoes today. They sit in my closet with dust all over it. I can't bear to throw them away because they cost $300. I was like, Anthony, you don't even wear these shoes. I know I don't wear these shoes, but they're dusty, they're moldy. I know, but they cost $300. I don't know, it's a guy thing, okay? We buy something and it costs a lot. We make wrong decisions. We want to make the right decisions. We make wrong decisions all the time. 7 days a week. 7 days a week, sometimes the reason why we make mistakes, the reason why we're things in our lives, when things matter, where it seems like we come to a car crash, is because we never paid attention to the car crashes, pay attention to the fatigue setting in our life. Pay attention to the posture, because we're in a posture to fall asleep. And last week we looked at two postures, and the first posture we looked at was we stop moving. We stop moving. And if you stop moving in a season, you can get stuck in it. And last week we said that nobody ever falls asleep while they're jogging. I'm going to fall asleep. No one ever does that. I don't know anybody who's fallen asleep while they're jogging. I know people who are exhausted. I know people who, like myself, who sometimes jogging. I realized earlier on that I'm allergic to jogging. And the reason why I tell you that, it's quite a serious thing. I don't know why you guys are laughing. It's quite serious. I realized the reason why I'm allergic, because I could tell by the signs, because every time I started jogging, like my heart will beat really fast, and I'll go red, and I'll just break out in sweats. And I thought, oh my gosh, I'm having an allergic reaction to this. And so I've realized, okay, I've got to stop doing this. It's not good for me. Then I realized the cure to that was to actually keep running and keep moving. Well, I should have chucked that in my message last week. And keep moving. So if you stop moving in the season, you get stuck in it. And the second posture we spoke about last week was we lay down. And so if we stop standing, we start tolerating, then we start perpetuating. And that's what we looked at last week. So if you missed last week's message, I highly encourage you, go online, have a listen, and I tell you, you'll be highly encouraged. But that's okay if you missed out last week. It doesn't mean that you won't understand today, but that's fine. That's good. So today we want to look at third posture is this. We get comfortable. We get comfortable. When you've had a rough night's sleep, the reason why you've had a rough night's sleep, for whatever reason, you were uncomfortable. It could have been the pillow. Could have been maybe your wife switched pillows for you, took your nice soft one so she could have it. Or maybe you decided that your little spot on the bed and her big spot is like, if I roll over anymore, I'll be on the floor. Or maybe she just needs all those blankets. Maybe she thought, I don't need those blankets. She just needs them all for herself. I don't know. When we get comfortable, and when you have a rough night's sleep, we find it hard to fall asleep. Last year, we had a men's camp out at Paul's house. Paul Savage, he runs our men's group here, one of the men's group leaders. And so we were camping in his barn on the farm. And so I went to in my shed, I've got this big basin of air beds, and we've collected it over the years with youth ministry, parachute festivals, camping. And so I went in to grab an air bed. But I knew that there was one in there that had a hole in it. I was like, what's the chances? So I thought, well, I'll just take the one at the top. So I'll take that one and I'll pump up the bed, and it's nice and perfect. And Pete McGregor, he's going to sleep on some wooden chips, and looking at the wooden chips, and I'm thinking, there's probably rats in there. This is a farm. So I'm going to sleep on my airbed, nice and comfortable, away from the rats. And so, I go to sleep nice and I was comfortable, go to sleep. I wake up in the middle of the night and I'm on the ground. My airbed is deflated. I'm thinking, are you kidding me? Of all the airbeds I've got, I choose the one with the hole in it. And no matter how hard I turned, I couldn't sleep. I wasn't comfortable. I couldn't get into a position to sleep because I wasn't comfortable. It was a hard night. And I started thinking to myself, those wood chips look pretty good right about now. I don't care about no rats, just as long as I get comfortable. And in life, if we don't get comfortable, if we get comfortable, we fall asleep. See, the day of choice is comfort. We want things easy and convenient. We want fame overnight. We want these quick, rich schemes. We want our ministries to succeed without the hard work. But if we're honest with ourselves, the greatest things in your life will cost you something. Will cost you something. See, Jesus didn't die to give us comfort. He died to give us a calling. Died to give us a purpose. And we are naturally selfish by nature. Did you know that? We're naturally selfish by nature. And what I mean by that is nobody teaches a child to be selfish. Nobody taught me to be selfish. But according to Jesus, he teaches us it's not about us. But the culture of today is like it's about what's in it for me. How comfortable can I get? How comfortable will I be in this church? How comfortable can I get? What's in it for me? And if you've got your Bibles, why don't you turn with me to Luke chapter 9, verse 23. And it reads, speaking of Jesus, then he said to the crowd, if any of you wants to be my follower, you must give up your own way, take up your cross daily, and follow me. See, when the hearers of the New Testament, when they heard this, for them, the cross represented crucifixion. The cross represented suffering. But Jesus was saying to them that, nothing great is easily won. It can be uncomfortable. Are you willing to be uncomfortable? Are you willing to be uncomfortable to follow me? In the midst, when you look back to your victories, when you look back to the things that you overcame, all your hardships in life, when you look back at it, at that time when you're in the midst of the storm, when you couldn't see a way through, all you could think was, God, why am I in this? Why am I in this position? God, why are you putting me through this? God, I've been obedient to you. I've followed you. I've led all these groups. I've done things for you. Why am I in here? I can't see my way forward. I'm stuck in the middle of the storm. But Jesus says this, shoulder your cross. And what does he say? He doesn't say shoulder your cross and good luck. Shoulder your cross. It's going to be tough. It's not going to be easy, but good luck. But he says, shoulder your cross and follow me. Because when you're in a storm, keep your eyes on Jesus, the author and perfecter of your story, and begin to follow him. Because, Jesus knows the way out. Don't get stuck in a place. Don't get comfortable. Don't get, look, this is just my marriage. Things are no longer comfortable anymore. And you know what? And I just want it to be nice and easy and convenient. And maybe it's easy and convenient for me just to leave. I don't want to suffer through this. This is too hard. Today's complacency is tomorrow's captivity. Today's complacency is tomorrow's captivity. When the Babylonians annexed Israel, when they took the southern tribe, the southern kingdom into captivity, Judah, when they took them to captivity, took them back to Babylon, they didn't like lord it over them. They didn't make it hard for them. What they did is that they made them comfortable. They said to them, look, take what? Run your business. Do what you need to do. Get comfortable. Settle down. Because I understood that today's complacency is tomorrow's captivity. They use comfort as a tool of captivity. So that when 75 years later, when the Persians came and liberated the southern kingdom, and they said to them, you can go back. Most of them said, that's okay. We're comfortable here. Things are okay. It's okay. I don't want to go because it's too hard. I don't want to go back where God has called us. I don't want to walk into my purposes. I don't want to walk into my potential because that's too hard. I want to stay here because it's nice and comfortable. It's nice and I love complacency because it's just such a great place to be. I know what I'm going to do tomorrow. It's going to be okay. But are you willing to be uncomfortable? Are you willing to shoulder your cross and follow Jesus? We get comfortable. See, the point of the cross is not suffering. The point of the cross is new life. Stepping into your potential. Stepping into your calling. Stepping into your purpose. Nothing great is easily won. And the final posture to sleep that I want to share with us this morning is we close our eyes. We close our eyes. When we have a family night, I don't know if your family nights look like our family nights. When we have a movie night at home, it's like, okay, kids, we're going to have a movie night. No, I want to stay in my room. No, we're having a movie. Get out and go in the lounge. We're going to have fun tonight. Everybody out. I want to stay. Get out of your room. Okay, yeah, you get out of your room too. We're all coming to Pares, my youngest. He's waiting. He's like 9 years old. He's all obedient. Then we got trying to drag our 16-year-old, our 14-year-old, and our 12-year-old who thinks she's 21 out. We're having a family night. Let's all sit in. I don't want to be, I don't care. You're saying we're having a family night. Just get out of here. And Puro's there making popcorn and the machine, pop, 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 pop. And it's like, make sure you don't burn it. And then she puts it in bowls, giving all the kids. And the kids go, well, how come his bowl is bigger than mine? I was going, well, we just put some more popcorn in yours. We just make it even. But it's not bigger than yours. It's the same. No, just eat your popcorn. Put a movie on. We're having a family night. We're having fun. Everybody be quiet. Shut up. Let's watch the movie. Okay. So I don't know if your family night looks like ours. So now we're watching the movie. I'm sitting relaxed, and I've had a hard day at work as I normally do. And sometimes the movie we watch is not the movie of my choice. Like, there's no guns, there's no swords. Care Bears. So maybe the Care Bears will bring out a gun. I don't know. And I'm watching this movie. Doesn't rock my boat. My eyes, I don't know if you've been there before. Watching a movie with your family, my eyes get heavier. And then they close, and I'm gone. I close my eyes, and I've fallen asleep. And I get this nice little nudge like this. And Puro's like, you've fallen asleep, haven't you? No. And this is what I say. I haven't fallen asleep. I was just resting my eyes. I was listening. I'm using my imagination. I was listening. You guys ever use that? I haven't fallen asleep. I'm listening. So when you close your eyes, when you finally put yourself in a posture to close your eyes, it's over. It's gone. So don't close your eyes. Don't close your eyes. You know what the opposite of faith is? The opposite of faith is not doubt. The opposite of faith is not doubt, but it's sight. It's what you see. That's the opposite of faith. Hebrews chapter 11 verse 1 says this, to have faith is to be sure of the things we hope for, to be certain of the things we cannot see. We cannot see. And sometimes we're in a situation and we're in a problem, and all we see is the problem. We can't see our way out. We can't see our way out. And so we close our eyes. I can't get out of this. My relationship is not going in the direction I want. I can't see a way, so I'm going to close my eyes. This business adventure that I started, maybe I'm not good enough. Maybe I haven't got this business mind. I'm just going to close my eyes. My assignments over one assignment after another. Maybe I'm not smart enough. I'm just going to close my eyes. Did you know that God's presence doesn't always fix your problems? Doesn't always fix your problems. But what God's presence does, it fixes your perspective of the problem. It changes the way you see it. So when we get to the point of closing your eyes, and some of you are here, you've closed your eyes on relationships before. You've closed your eyes on that business event. You've closed your eyes on your studies. You've closed your eyes on the ministry. And because it was too tough, you couldn't see your way forward. But look again. Open your eyes and look again. Change your perspective. Change the way you see it. I couldn't see my way in the marriage. Or everywhere I go, it was always blocked. Look again. Change your perspective and see your way through. Change your perspective. And if you're here at our Good Friday service, I said this very thing. Your perspective will either become your prison or your passport. You'll either be confined to the way things are or launch yourselves in the way things should be. Don't be confined to what you see. Like, I can't see a way out. Don't stop moving. Don't get stuck in a season. This is who I am. This is all I'm going to be. Your perspective is either a prison or your passport. It's either going to confine you or launch you into your future. Many times I would think about my life and where I am today. And many times in my life, there were times where I reached a point where I ignored fatigue and I started to fall asleep. And I had to make a decision. Do I keep moving forward? Do I keep moving? Or do I leave and go somewhere where it's comfortable? But I decided to shoulder and keep moving forward. I always wonder where my life would have been if I never made those decisions. If you're honest about yourself, there are decisions you've made that you could have easily swung the other way. Where would your life could have been? Or maybe you're here and you kind of realize, you know what? The decision I made wasn't a good decision. What if I paid attention to the fatigue? What if I paid attention to the tension that was going on? Can you imagine what our communities would be like when we recognize fatigue setting in every area of our life, in our marriage, in our spirituality, in our walk with God? Because it's so easy for us to forget about God when we're so consumed about self, when we're so consumed about being comfortable. When Jesus says, look, shoulder across. It's not going to be easy. Just keep moving. Don't get stuck in the season. Just keep moving forward. Keep following me. Keep your eyes on the goal. The author and perfecter of your story, who didn't create you to be a quitter, but a finisher. A finisher. This morning we had Lindsay and Jean Priest up here this morning at the 9 o'clock service, and Chris and Sarah gave them a gold medal because it was the golden wedding anniversary. They've been married for 50 years. Walked up on here. 50 years. And he's like, I think he's 70 something, 75. And I was working out, how old would I be? And I thought, whoa, you know what? That's where we're heading, me and Poro. I've got to change the subject now. I've got to drink water. Where someone else will put a medal. Well done. Well done, good and faithful servant. To your perspective will either become your prison or your passport. Ask yourself this question. Am I choosing to give up? Because it's the right thing? Or because it seems like leaving would be easier, comfortable? See, this is what we need to ask ourselves. When you're in that place, when we're in a place where you've got to make a major decision in your life, when you've ignored the signs of fatigue, and now you're in a place. Because let me tell you something. What's happened in the past has happened in the past. You can't control the past, so stop looking back. Stop looking back, but look forward. Keep your eyes on the goal and keep moving forward through your season. And ask yourself this question. Am I choosing to give up because it's the right thing? Or because it seems like leaving would be easier, comfortable? You know, I imagine when I was a youth pastor here, not so long ago. And when you're a youth pastor, when things go well, it's like any type of leadership, everybody pats you on the back. Whoa, that was awesome. Well done, man. Youth are going for woo. But when things aren't going well, those very same people are saying, is this the guy? Is this the guy? And you think to yourself, you know, I remember finding myself in that place, and maybe it's easier just to go. Maybe I'm not the guy. Maybe I'm not that person. Maybe it'd be easier for me just to walk away. Maybe get a job that's easier. Maybe a job that actually pays. I really believe God began to take hold of my heart and said, look again. Look again. Change your perspective. Keep your eyes on me, the author and perfecter of your story. Shoulder that cross. It's not easy. Nothing great is easily won. Keep moving forward. Don't get stuck. And here we are today. See, My story could have been, you know what, I used to be a youth pastor, but it didn't work out. Hey, but that's just the way things are. But my story isn't that. My story is like, I've got the privilege of leading a church because I didn't give up. Church, when we pray. Father, I just thank you, Lord, for who you are. Father, I just pray for everybody in this room. Lord, there are people who are at a point where they need to make a decision. For whatever reasons, we miss the signs. Father, I just pray that you help people change their perspective, to look again. I'm about to give up on my marriage, but I'm looking again.